Ready to get started on our mandala today. Oh, there's yesterday's. To turn over my paper. That's right, yesterday I did in red. So unlike me. Okay, let's see. Let's start today. I feel like having like a very botanical mandala today. So let's see if we can make like a big flower bloom. So let's start with just a circle in the middle. And let's see. Let's have, trying to think if we want fancy petals or normal petals. Let's just do some normal petals and then maybe we'll switch it up in the middle. So, remembering to keep focus on our line work, our start, draw, stop, start, draw, stop. And again, for those of you who are new, this is just to keep ourselves really focused on the actions that we're doing, the lines and the shapes, so that this becomes a very mindful and sort of meditative experiences drawing these mandalas. So it really helps when we focus on our line work and make sure we have those start and stop points. All right, let's see. Let's make another layer of these petals going around. And we're not going to be too terribly concerned about going middle to middle or anything. Just kind of draw them what feels good. Just so they're, kind of about the same size going around. And since we're making this more like a botanical or of an organic kind of mandala. Hey Adele, how are you? We're not going to work on it being like, perfectly symmetrical and perfect. Because, big, huge flower blooms are not perfectly symmetrical or perfect in any way. And that's part of what makes them beautiful. So let's just go ahead and make another row and just start anywhere. And you can make it a little bit bigger if you want. Just focusing on making these petals going around. And doing these repetitive shapes around can sometimes, get a little boring. And so in the lesson for this mandala is when you're doing, really repetitive shapes or lines or filling in, is just really, making sure that you're keeping mindful of your lines and keeping focused in and not letting your mind wander. Your lines start to get sloppy and you start to, not have the experience that you should. Now see where I have this section here that's not quite big enough to put a full one in. I can squeeze one in there if I want, or what I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of just start and then layer it like this. So it just kind of looks like it's overlapping in that section there. So I just didn't go all the way down. It just kind of went and stopped right at the edge of that previous petal. All right, so let's do one more row of this and then we will switch up the type of petal. And I like doing these sometimes. Like mandalas don't always have to be filled with a million different types of shapes. As long as they are repeated shapes going around in concentric circles, it's a mandala. And like I said, I just thought it would be fun to do like a very botanical one today. Hi Starla, thanks for joining. I really focused on a nice big flower bloom botanical type of mandala today, just for fun, just to switch things up. So let's see, we've done a few rows of this. So let's change up the shape of our petal a little bit. So let's start and just make them this kind of, what I call Hershey's Kiss shape going around. And so you can even, just, leave some little space if you want around them. You can kind of layer them on each other. We're going to be just a little bit more organic in this mandala today than sometimes we are. Sometimes I like them more structured, sometimes not. I think a lot of it is just on the mood that I'm into. And, following along with me, you're kind of, going along with whatever mood I'm in, right? But when you're doing them on your own, you'll find that sometimes you feel like having more, more geometric kind of shaped mandalas, or maybe just like, smaller, much more dense kind of shapes. Sometimes they're more open and airy. Sometimes they're more organic, like this one, or more, botanical, where you have a definite like flower feel to them. And okay, so let's go ahead and do another layer of this type of shape. So just, starting anywhere in, between, doesn't have to be exactly in the middle or anything. We're just going to go ahead and put another layer of this type of shape. Just kind of like they're, just sort of tucked under the one in front or before them. And so still keeping my my attention on my lines. Remember, I have a start, draw, pause, stop. And I just put that pause right at that point to where I sort of change directions. You can actually make it a stop and do a whole new line, or you can just make a pause. So if I stopped, I would just, go, start, draw, stop, and start, draw, stop. It doesn't matter. It's just, really all I'm doing with this is just making sure that you're keeping your mind on the task and keeping this a very mindful exercise. So that's all that, start, stop stuff is about. It has nothing to do with, the actual drawing of the shapes or anything. Let's see. Let's do one more row of these, and then let me think. So as we get out, we have a lot more space to fill out here. So our shapes can get a little bit bigger, so we can make them bigger, or we can just keep them tucked in. For this row, I'm gonna go ahead and just tuck them in. So I'm gonna keep them about the same size. So I'll just start, closer in instead of in the middle. And so bringing them up, they'll stay about the same size as the ones that I've done so far. And that's just because I'm wanting them to be kind of like, flower petals layered out. And at some point you might come to a place where you get a little confused in your lines. It happens to me, like at that point I stopped for a second going, wait, where am I supposed to make this line? Because, the repeated shapes being all the same, they start to, I don't even know what I'm trying to say. They just all kind of come together, and your brain sort of loses track of where you put the last one and where the next one needs to go. Yeah, because see, does it go here? Does it go here? And ultimately, it doesn't matter. You can, wherever you end up putting it is fine. If you can't tell where it's going to go, you're not going to tell that you put it in the wrong place if you put it in the wrong place, right? So, okay, let's make it. And remember also, like, notice I'm turning my paper with my, as I'm drawing, just to, you know, to keep my wrist safe from that repetitive motion issues, and also just to, you know, help my lines and shapes look a little bit smoother. All right, we've gone all the way around again. Let's make some of this same sort of shape, like that Hershey's Kiss shape, but let's make them bigger. So we're gonna like do maybe some leaves that are around our flower bloom here. So I'm gonna make them, and I'm just gonna just pick a spot and make a bloom, and then come down wherever it comes down. And so we're not gonna worry about if they look all a little bit different, because, you know, leaves don't look all the same, do they? And let's see. And I'm just going to split the difference here and put one in the middle there. All right. And let's see, let's actually put another layer of those just for fun. Let's just open it up. So I'm just gonna go just anywhere in here and just put another kind of leaf shape. And see how that one's off center? So just kind of place them wherever in there. It makes them look even more natural and like leaves that are layered underneath of the flower bloom. So this is also, you know, how you would make, you know, you've seen the drawings of succulent plants that are really, really pretty. It's the same idea. I mean, really, we could have a drawing of a succulent plant here, right? I mean, if maybe I'll do that one time. Maybe if we did, you know, mostly these type of shapes, maybe a little bit thicker, longer, just layered out like that, that would be a very pretty succulent, one of those, what do they call them, chicks and hens and chicks or something, succulent plants. Those are really pretty. And then, yeah, so you could paint them green with like just purple edges, or do the whole outline in purple and then just, you know, color it in with green, you know, pencil or crayon. That would be beautiful. Maybe I'll do that one of these times. All right, let's see. Okay, wait, time check. All right. Let's go ahead and then do some filling in, shall we? So, oops, I'm dropping my lid. Stays on the end, but I tend to play with it, and so then it loosens up and falls off. All right, so let's start with, I'm going to, because we're, you know, making this kind of like flower-like, I'm gonna take right in the center, and I'm just gonna make some little dots, just like you would find in the center of, you know, a flower. So can you see that? I just made the little tiny dots in there. And then in these small petals, I'm gonna make just one little line going on. And the line that I'm using goes with the same idea of my, you know, mindful lines, but instead of a start and a stop, we're doing a start, draw, and lift. And by lifting that end, you're actually getting a very tapered end to that line, which just makes it even look more natural and organic. So let's do that on a couple of layers here, especially the really small ones. And also you can give them like a little curve if you want, so they're not exactly straight. And they don't all have to be the same length. And then why don't we're getting a little bit bigger here. Why don't we take and do like just two or three of those lines inside the petal. So it looks like just kind of the folds. When a petal folds up, you get the wrinkles, from when it folds. So that's kind of what we're going for here. Although sometimes they actually will look like the little stamen coming out. So especially the ones if I start from the center and do that, I'll put like little dots on the ends of those, and they look like the stamen in the middle of a flower, and that looks pretty cool too. Let's see. And then we can just continue. Now we can continue on making this entire thing look just like a flower, or you can decide to decorate the shapes like we normally do in our mandalas with, just all different shapes, like, doing some of the double lines, filling in with other shapes and circles and spirals and teardrops. However you would like to do that. Let's see. Oh, thank you, Starla. I know, isn't it? I love like more traditional mandalas, but every once in a while I like to do these because it just looks like this giant flower bloom, and I don't know, there's just something so beautiful about that. And it's funny how they start to really come together as you start, putting in the details. Suddenly you're like, oh my gosh, that's just such a beautiful, huge flower bloom. Okay, so let's see. We have all these. See how that looks. And what you're doing when you start these, have all these lines, it almost makes like a little bit of shadow too. So you really get that 3D effect going on, and I think that's really cool. In fact, what I'm going to do now is I am going to make the line around this outer layer of this shape, this more rounded petal shape, a little bit thicker. And one, I like to kind of just vary the thickness of some of the lines, but also what that tends to do is almost also give it kind of a shadow look. So you'll get that really kind of layered look, to look like it's really sitting on top of these other petals. Let's see. Wait, let me do a quick time check. All right, got about 4 more minutes before I need to log off. So yeah, and doing these kind of things to the outlining and filling and stuff, we still need to remember to to keep aware of our lines that we're making are definitely, I'm still having a start, a draw, and a stop period. There we go. And see how that just really makes it pop? Okay. And so we can, probably what I would continue doing here is still doing, I'll just do a couple, still doing maybe the little fold lines like this, just putting some more in there. Since these leaves are much bigger, they can support much more. And again, this is using my start, draw, lift line to get that really tapered end. And you can see they're kind of wavy. I'm just letting my hand just make the line as it makes it so that it gets that really kind of natural looking line. And okay, so we can fill all of these like that. And then on the very outside ones, the bigger ones that we made, we can actually make them leaves. So I'll do a couple of those. Let's see, I have just enough time. So on these, like say these, I'm going to just start from just some point in here and just make a line up. And again, that's another one of those tapered lines. So just remember to lift at the end. And then you get that, you know, that very tapered look. And then we'll just take and we'll make some lines for the leaf veins going out. Again, using that lift technique. Hey, Stacy. I'm mixing it up today and just having a big, huge flower bloom mandala. So now I'm just making these bigger shapes that I put around the outside be the kind of leaves. And just remembering to use that lift line. So, you know, the start, draw, lift. Start, lift. And just to give it that really tapered end, which looks just really natural and organic. These are some of my favorite things to do, are these leaf shapes. I put leaf shapes in any type of mandala, not just the big flower bloom ones. But yeah, see, doesn't that look cool? Oh my gosh, that's so beautiful. I need to check the time. I don't want to stop making my leaves though. I love making these leaves. Let's see. Oh yeah, I gotta go. Okay, but here we go. Look, isn't that beautiful? And I mean, seriously, I made two different types of shapes. I made this, you know, semicircle shape, and then I made this kind of pointed petal, or what I call the, you know, Hershey's Kiss shape outside of that, just in two different sizes. And I just went round and round and round, no rhyme or reason, anything, just layering them around each other. A little bit of few lines in the middle, and you have this beautiful flower blossom. Thanks, Darla. And yeah, so I've got to run. If you make one of these mandalas or any mandala, please share it with me. I would love to see it. And yeah, share this video. I would love to just, you know, have as many people be able to you know, learn how to do these mindful or, you know, meditative mandalas. And hey, Darcy, I am just logging off. And so yeah, just reaching as many people, that would be amazing. Even for people who just like to watch, it's also very relaxing to watch drawing videos. And I try to have a decently not too annoying voice as I'm saying them, so it's also very relaxing. And yeah, that's it. I will be here again tomorrow at 5:30 Central Time. And that's it. Everybody have an amazing rest of your day, and I will chat with you soon. Mwah. Bye-bye.